All right, so that's contract modification. Now we're going to move on to contract closeout. So we're going to talk about what contracting officers and cores need to do to close out a contract. Now, Chris, tell us, why is closing out a contract important? Why can't you just move on to the next project?
So, Kathy, why is closeout important? Well, it's important for a number of reasons. First, as we've already talked about, we know that we need the admin record for our appeal and protest period. We also know that we need to kind of finalize the contract, receive the deliverables, get final copies of all of our documents and materials. Well, now that we've done that, what do we use those materials and those files for? It really can be anything, which is part of the reason we need to do a good job when it's fresh and the project is still in our minds and we know what we've been working on. And we have access to the full team of both BLM specialists and contractor personnel in order to prepare those materials. So as you work with the contractor in preparation for closing the contract, it might be helpful to remember that the documents and the organization of them may be relied on way down the road, years down the road, because sometimes, despite our best efforts, the language in a decision record or a project document is not as clear as we would like it to be. And when that happens, we're going to turn to the project file to figure out how to interpret it. Once the ROD is signed, the project still needs to go forward in implementation, and we'll likely be working on it for a while, months, years, in the case of an RMP, potentially even a couple of decades. So we'll be referring to that ROD, the document, but we'll also be referring to the project files to answer those "what do we mean here" questions. I don't know how many times you've been the new specialist assigned or a new project manager assigned and been faced with that question of, so what did we mean there? Why did we write this way? Where do we look for that? We're going to look, if it's not clear in the document, into the project files to guide our implementation of the decision in that record of decision. One of the resources that, as a project manager or a specialist, you may be called on to rely on is a clear, consistent project file from years gone by. This is something we may not be concerned about during the NEPA process, and maybe once that appeal period is passed, we may think, hey, great, the risk is gone or the concern is gone. But there's going to be staff coming in down the road that's going to need to rely on that. And really, we will need that file to guide our implementation. So again, effective closeout provides us not only the documents, but also an organization that allows us to use them and solve those questions with pretty easily down the road.
Thanks, Chris. And now I know why closing out a contract is so important. And as always, not only are there the core considerations, but there are regulations that we need to follow to complete the process. So Cindy, what can you tell us about the FAR, what the FAR says about contract closeouts?
Thanks, Kathy. I'd like to start off by reminding you of the importance of communication and documentation throughout the whole contracting process, especially during contract closeout. As I have discussed many times in the past, good communication along with good documentation shared with your contracting staff can save you a lot of time, money, and headaches. And remember from the first broadcast, get your contracting staff involved early and often when challenges arise with your contractors. So, what is contract closeout and what does it mean to the contracting staff? Well, it may be different than what you think. As you can see on the screen, the FAR, as it pertains to firm fixed price contracts, which most NEPA projects fall under, says that a contract file should be closed within 6 months after receiving evidence that the contract is complete. The FAR also covers when a contract file should not be closed. For example, when the contract itself is in litigation or under appeal, when a decision has been made to terminate a contract, but all termination actions have not been completed. You can see the full text of the FAR, Part 4.8. So, does this FAR definition agree with your definition and roles as to what contract closeout means? Probably not. Let's talk a little bit more about it. Contract closeout means we agree to close the contract because they've completed the work to the government's satisfaction and the contractor has received the agreed upon compensation.
So Cindy, I just want to clarify that last point since it may be confusing with some of the concepts that I discussed earlier in the broadcast regarding project files in litigation. So to be clear, you're saying that the contracting officer's contract file cannot be closed if the contract itself is under litigation, not when the project decision is under appeal or litigation.
That's a good clarification, Molly, between the litigation on a contract file and a decision file. Another part of closeout is records retention. Records retention is yet another thing to think about while completing or closing your contract. I often suggest to cores that the length of time they could keep their personal records, not the official records, typically depends on the success, length, and the complexity of the contract. Remember that even if you have been promoted, left your position, or retired, you may be called upon to discuss or even testify about how your project went with your contractor. As contracting staff, we do not maintain your records or logs. It's only our responsibility to maintain the official contract file, even after it's been sent off to the National Archives, which is for 6 years and 3 months. On my larger contracts, I maintain my notes and emails for a few years just to refresh my memory if needed. Part 4703 of the FAR covers what the contractor's roles and responsibilities are as for their records retention. Here's a good rule of thumb. When dealing with records retention, please contact your state records manager and/or your FOIA staff. On your screen, you'll see just a few of the contracting staff's requirements maintained by the FAR. As you can see, different types of contract documents have different retention periods.
Okay, so Cindy, this is probably going to make you cringe, but I'm going to boil down what you said in just like a couple of sentences, okay? So contract files must be closed within 6 months after the work is complete unless the contract itself is being litigated. And how long you keep your own personal files and notes depends on how the contract went. For example, if it was a simple, small contract and if it went well, you don't need to keep the records as long as if the contract was long and arduous. And then, of course, you still need to adhere to the guidance in how long to keep records from the Administrative Procedures Act and the FAR. And the other thing I heard you say is no matter how far you run, no matter how far you hide, deep you hide, you can never get away from the contracting officers, right?
That's a very good summarization.
Okay.